Hi, Brennan Moriarty, the social vaccine, and I want to talk about primary norms and secondary norms. So the primary norm is the society, if you will, and the secondary norm is this unseen, non-societal thing. It is the denominator, which which is underneath the primary norm. So the primary norm is trying to stand straight, okay, uh, straight as a plant in the garden, happy, content. But the denominator of the secondary norm, which exists in the time-space continuum of manifest destiny, I know that's going over your head, but basically location by youth, and then by sort of colonialism, sort of going off. I grew up in California, okay, so I'm first generation out here in West America. And so this time-space continuum thing is like saying this is the denominator, and it's a secondary norm, and a tiny percentage are very unhappy with their history and location and their youth experience. So you're you have this second you have this the primary norm is society, okay, and if it's under there, it's divided. Okay, so it makes it shifty, and they're like trying to get out, and they're like, there's no real sort of help because the primary norm can be divisive itself in a more opportunistic way, sort of chiseling away in the wrong direction and not making a clear vent of ecological society. Not saying not acknowledging that, but sort of saying, oh, look at them down there, they're and maybe there's maybe I can maybe I can use this as an opportunity. So you have this, like, if you will, this criminalistic or terrorist fertilizer sort of stimulation. People say, oh, there's a loser. Let's that's proof that that someone needs, proof of, tourism, terrorism. That's like, no way, imperative. I'm using Obama's language, Clinton's language. Uh, uh, so there has to be this secondary norm denominator solution. Otherwise, the primary norm is not going to be unstable. They're not going to be fair. They're not going to be stable. People are going to say, oh, well, look, I can only see the primary norm, but the secondary norm is there, it's trapped, dividing. Now let's move on to engineering, and basically, especially with this social ecology, if we have it, then what we have is a potential to universalize our engineering existence, our our habitats, our transportation. Instead of having everything unique and sort of saying, oh, it's all like balancing on there, isn't that cool? One of a kind. Instead, we have a universal, like, one unit that can be used again and again and again and again, and surround us with health and predictability and happiness for, the secondary norm is 1% of the population approximately, perhaps much less. It's a neutron, as in it's moving so fast that you cannot quite see it. So you have to use science. You have to use, like, this medical magnet. And I think I'm running out of time here. So let's. So anyways, the meta. I, you know, I'm trying to be very positive, and and yet science is this laboratory of proof that, to pursue science, you must move around. And I have moved around, but I'm like injured now. And, like, healthcare is not really feasible for the secondary norm. Love, this, and so you look at Egypt and stuff like that, and they're saying, oh, we want this, we want that, and maybe the dictator is the secondary norm, and that's how it relates to the social ecology. I'm losing myself. The dictator is the secondary norm in that they're rare, very rare, and yet they're controlling things. They're dividing. So it's the same thing. But America is the new world, the new system, and the old world order are together in a vacuum, in a yin yang. It's so fast. It's like the neutron. You cannot see it moving around, but it is there. We know it is there. We have evidence. We have. It's just purely evident in the word statistics is deprived by the primary norm, who is trying to chip away and using the secondary norm as some sort of tool, if you will. If it's not there, the primary norm can contact society as a whole. But with the secondary norm dividing, it's really making this confusion thing. It's like a bunch of noise, like a dictator. Like dictator is there, in between, and this is the old world. Is the dictator, but in the new world, the secondary norm is much more quantifiable by geography and normative, cultural normative, secondary normative realities, and it's very real. It's just not. It's not for. It's only 1% of the population needs deal with this. If you deal with this, your primary norm, whatever you are, whatever your race or your creed or your desires, are going to be liberated by identifying and then going to the old world order, if you will, of wherever your closest ancestry is. That takes away this denominator and allows the whole unit, the one unit of human societies, to function on an ecologically sound basis with poetry. Poetry. Open the curtains, come in through the roof, put on your sandals and write down the truth. Da 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 da. Okay, so I'm gonna go have a guitar, and I'll come back to you guys. We'll take a little commercial break. Okay, come right back. Yay yay yay!